What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, not negative, Nate Green. How you doing, Nate?
We'll see. It shouldn't be a negative one. This should be a fun one. So
Don't say that because people come here to see you be negative, okay? Now everybody's leaving because you're not going to be negative in this podcast. No,
that's fair.
we got a
That's
fun
fair.
show. It's not, it's, yeah, I mean, we're having fun with it. It's not nothing bad, nothing crazy or anything like that, but we're in for a very, very fun show. Of course, before all that happens, go ahead, follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared underscore Tim's, Nate at Nate Green 34. I got that little, we got Blue Sky, is it now? So you're on Blue Sky and, you want to be on social media, whatever that is. Go ahead, follow us there as well. Just look up Talking Halos. You can look up myself, Jared Timms, as well. Yeah, no, I'm excited to talk a little Angels baseball here. But first, let us pay the bills real quick. All right. Let's get it rolling here. A little bit of news, I guess. Not really Angels news, but someone that we really wanted the Angels to sign last year. And all of a sudden,
Mhm.
this team is like, oh, we might not want this guy anymore. And that is Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, the Cubs are rumored to trade him. That is interested in trading him. Let's just say that.
Mhm.
It could happen, it could just be talk. It's what rumors are, of course. But we wanted him last year. We were in total agreement. I mean, that is a center fielder to the future. Now, I want your reactions first to this. If first and foremost, because I know you're excited about this one. So go ahead, Cody Bellinger, take it away. What do you want to talk about him with?
Well, it makes a lot of sense for the Cubs. I think they were caught a little off guard that he decided to stay with the team, knowing that he's a Scott Boras guy, and Scott Boras guys typically opt out any chance they get. Um,
Unless you're
they
Matt
made the
Chapman.
trade to get, yeah, Matt Chapman. Uh, did Matt? No, he didn't fire. He did not fire. Jordan Montgomery fired Boras, but um, they made the trade for Michael Bush. Michael Bush had a fine year at first base for them. They bring up PCA. PCA was outstanding from August and September for them, and might be one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball in the next couple of years. So I think they're pretty set in the positions where Bellinger would be playing. You could move him to a corner, but they have Suzuki is on a long term deal. They have Ian Happ who's got one more year. And they got all the kids that they're bringing up. I mean, Owen Cassie, I believe, is the guy who they're people have already checked in on because there might not be a spot for him. They brought up Kevin Alcantara last year, so it makes a lot of sense for the Cubs to move off of Cody Bellinger just because of the positions that he plays and the strength of their team. So that's the first thing that I have. When it comes to the Angels, I think it makes a lot of sense. You got to move Mike Trout off of center field. I've said this multiple times. I think Mike Trout should play 0 games in center field. Um, I would rather him play left field basically every single day, DH every now and then, whatever, but no center field for him. Cody Bellinger is a very, very good defender and can play first base. Like, I mean, how many of us are 100% sold on Nolan Shanuel at first base? Like, I think people are still cautious making him the first baseman of the future. Like, he's shown flashes, sure, but like, are we for sure that he is going to be the first baseman in the future? I think that's a realistic question. And then how long will he be in Anaheim? Like, even if he is the first baseman for the next 4, 5, 6 years, you probably do what you did to Justin Upton with Cody Bellinger. You trade for him, you give him a extension because he's only signed for this year and next year. So you would give an extension for 5 or 6 years. He's going to be 29, turning 30 in the middle of the year. So you'll have some time with him. And then he could play center for, 3, 4, 5 years, and you can move him to first after, the 3 or 4 years. And who knows if Shanuel was even on the team anymore. So I think he brings a lot of things that are good for the Angels. I think the Angels are looking for power that they've mentioned. Bellinger does hit the ball of the yard. Plus, he might be able to get a couple more homers with the yellow line in right field. So I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I do too. Again, I mean, you hit on all points there for sure. You definitely think about extending him, like kind of that Matt Chapman type of extension that happened this last year. Justin Upton, another very good one there. Uh, the one thing that I know we were trying to figure out was what a Cody Bellinger trade might look like.
Mhm.
And I still am kind of I don't know. He's owed $27 million a year, I believe, is what it is.
It was
Um,
25, but yeah, it's somewhere
25.
in there.
Let's say he's owed 25 million without looking it up. I'm sure you're looking it up right now, but
I'll look it up for you while we.
he's owed 20 something million dollars. He's coming off a quote unquote down year. I mean, he was almost a two-win player last year, which wasn't Cody Bellinger of old, but I mean, he's shown upsides. He's won the MVP before. He's again, you mentioned a very good defender. He has the 40 home run upside. He replaces Mike Trout in center field. He checks a lot of boxes for this team, and funny, the Cubs were a team we talked about early in this offseason and going and seeing if there's a young outfielder that you can go get there that can play center field, for maybe a young pitcher. So back to the trade talk with Bellinger though. I just don't know what a trade would really look like. I'm still trying to figure it out because you mentioned the Justin Upton trade, and that wasn't too bad. That was Grayson Long and Elvin Rodriguez, two pitchers. The Angels have a lot of pitching right now as it is, so you could possibly see something like that. Grayson Rodriguez at the time was the Angels' number nine prospect in a very bad farm system, and Elvin Rodriguez was an up and coming pitcher in the Angels farm system as well. Actually played with the Detroit Tigers for a little while there. I think he was actually on the Futures game roster as well. So I don't know if it looks something like that. I don't know if it looks something maybe a little bit more closer to a Nolan Arenado type of trade, that happened a couple years ago, which involved I think four top 30 prospects for the
Yep.
Cardinals. Maybe something in between those two because I do think that Cody Bellinger is better than Justin Upton, but I don't think he is as good as what Nolan Arenado was. Nolan Arenado was an absolute stud. So maybe it's something in between. Maybe it's a little something closer to a Justin Upton type of deal where heck, maybe it's a Walbert Urania type guy and maybe I don't want to say Samuel Gary, but something in that range. Maybe Barrett Kent and a Walbert Urania might get it done. I don't know. I really don't. It kind of depends on what the Cubs are looking for as well. But regardless of what the outcome is, I would love to see the Angels be in on Cody Bellinger, even if it is how much money, because I know you looked it up.
It's 27 and a half and 25, so it's
26.
26.6 or something like
Right
that.
here. Okay. So 26.5 million dollars. Even if it is that. And then you extend him. And again, you mentioned it. He can play center field. You can move him to first base if Sean Will doesn't work. You have him long term. He fits the 2026 and beyond gap. So I'm there with it. The only thing that slightly worries me is how much he actually wants to play baseball. But that is
He was a
beside
two point.
the
He was a 2.2 win player last year. So
I thought I saw
I mean,
1 point. I thought I saw 1.7, but half win. That's whatever it is.
maybe that's baseball reference, but Fangraphs War had
Two.
2.2, which
Okay.
I mean, if that's a down year,
Yeah.
that's really good on the Angels. What the Angels have run out there the last couple of years. So
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice compliment. So those of you watching on YouTube, let us know. First off, if you want Cody Bellinger, and second off, what you might give up for Cody Bellinger. I've heard Taylor Ward as well. I mean, I don't think that really makes a lot of sense for the Cubs, but
nope,
who knows? Who knows? On
maybe
to our
three
next
team trade.
three-team trade might work. Yeah, something like that. It
Maybe
could get crazy.
Maybe like Ward goes to Kansas City. Kansas City sends a prospect or two to the Cubs, and the Cubs send Bellinger to the Angels.
Might work. That could
Never know.
that could definitely work for sure. So, again, if you're watching us on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below what you think about a possible Cody Bellinger trade and what you might give up for Cody Bellinger. On to a little bit more fun stuff. We're going to play a little bit of a game. Prop or free agents that we'd like to see the Angels go and sign. We're going to start with an infielder, an outfielder, and a pitcher. You can pick a reliever, you can pick a starter. Go ahead and play along with us again if you're on YouTube. Nate, I'm gonna let you go first since I picked my guys, and I know you've already picked a couple of my guys. I picked extra guys, so I'm just gonna say both of
I don't
my
know if I
guys.
picked any of your guys. So I was between two guys
Go ahead,
for the
start in the
infield.
infield. What do you got?
Yeah, I was between two guys. So I'm gonna go with Jorge Polanco. I think again, mixing with a lot of what Perry said. Perry wants some power in the lineup. Luis Rengifo can move around the diamond. Polanco can play second. Probably could play short in a pinch. He could play third in a pinch. Like all those things. Switch hitter coming off a down year might be able to get him on a little bit cheaper than people are thinking. And again, might be able to get a couple cheap home runs. Seattle is not a hitter's park at all. And so get him out of there, get him into a better hitting park. The Angels aren't exactly a hitter's park, but it's better than Seattle. So I don't know. I think he checks a lot of boxes for the Angels, a veteran guy who's been on some good winning teams. It was between him and Thairo Estrada, and I just felt like he had a little bit more pop.
That's fair. By the way, we went realistic targets for the Angels because I mean
Yes,
we could have picked Corbin Burns, Juan Soto, and
Willie Adames or Alex
Yeah,
Bregman.
Willie Day, somebody like that. But that's not fun for us, and that's not fun for you guys either. Though I mean, it would be fun if the Angels did that, but realistically, it's probably not going to happen. So we went more on the realistic side of stuff here. Nate. Jorge Polanco was my first choice. So my second choice was not
Oh my
Thairo Estrada,
gosh.
even though I should have said Estrada. I said Luis Urias. Just kind of for me makes a lot of sense. Plays all over the infield. I think can maybe play a little bit of outfield there too. You do need another Kevin Newman type guy, I think. I think Jorge Polanco fits that gap as well, and I think that Luis Arias fits that gap as well. I think the Angels are very much so still in on another infielder. I don't know if it's going to be a big name infielder, but but yeah, I do think they're going to still be in on another infielder. They need another Kevin Newman, Luis Renifo type of guy to play all over the infield, just in case some injuries happen. You definitely got to get deeper there. So
Yeah.
my pick, my first pick, Jorge Polanco. You picked it, so I'm going Luis Arias.
You go next year with the outfielder because I don't want to take your guy.
No, go ahead. I picked two
No,
guys.
no,
Go ahead, pick my guy
no,
because
go
I know you
ahead.
picked my guy.
No, go
I
ahead.
know you picked him. Say it.
No, I
Okay.
want you to pick your guy.
Okay. My first choice was Manny Margot because
Okay.
did you pick Margot?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
it was between two guys and Margot was
Okay.
one of them.
So I'm gonna go with my second guy who can also play center field, former Angel two times two, Randall Grichuk.
Okay.
Playing center field again. I don't know if he ever comes back to Anaheim, but that would be my number two pick. We can talk about Manny Margot because I think he makes a lot of sense playing center field. Unless they go and trade for somebody, then if they go and trade for Cody Bellinger, I'd say maybe you don't need another outfielder.
Yeah.
But for the time being, you do need another outfielder out there. You need somebody to play center field for the exact reason that Nate said about Cody Bellinger. You'd like to keep Mike Trout out of center field as much as possible. I'm not in agreement that you don't need he needs to play 0 games out there, but I do think you need to limit the innings of him out there to, I mean, 40, 50 games if possible. And also with Mike Trout, I know a lot of people don't like to believe this, but he's not the best defensive center fielder. Now, whether that's playing in Anaheim or not, he just is not the best defensive center fielder out there. He's quick, he makes up a lot of ground. His first steps aren't always the best. His jumps aren't always the best, and that's just kind of where he gets hurt. Is he a very good offensive center fielder? Absolutely. But
Mhm.
up the middle, I'd like to see somebody with a little bit more defense. So Randall Grichuk's that pick for me to play a little bit more center field because he can play all three outfield spots too, and he plays a pretty good defense as well. So
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead talk about Manny Margot.
Well, it's funny because the other guy I was going to go with was Michael A. Taylor, who honestly very similar to Manuel Margot, a center fielder, little light offensively, both of them. Margot's got a little bit of pop, can play all three outfield spots, kind of like Michael A. Taylor. Um, Taylor's got a little bit of pop, nothing gonna blow you away though. When you look at the numbers, it's gonna be like 220, 230, maybe 240 if you get him on a really good year. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest thing the Angels are looking for is a guy who can play center field, 120, 140 games. Yeah, Moniak and Adele who could sprinkle in every now and then if you need them to. But like it would honestly, if the Angels are going to ride with Moniak, Adele, and Trout, I would love to go see them go get a Margot or a Taylor and just be like, hey, Moniak, you're going to play every day against righties, and if there's a tough lefty on the mound, we're going to go Taylor, we're going to go Margot, and then Trout needs a day off, Margot, you can play left, or Adele isn't swinging it well, like whatever. Like they would have options there. So those would be the two guys. They're pretty similar players for me, though.
Yep. Yeah, and there's not too many guys that just played center field. I gone away from Harrison Bader. I wanted him early on in the season, but I've kind of gone away from him just because I think he's going to cost a little bit too much. I think he's going to be outpriced for the Angels and what his role is for the Angels. Because I think that he's going to be an everyday starting center fielder, and I don't think the Angels need an everyday starting center fielder. I think they need somebody to play, like Kevin Newman, 100 games in center field or something like that. So
Unless they're going to get an elite center fielder like Cody
correct.
Bellinger.
Correct. So, on to our last pick here. I'll let you go with the starting pitcher because I know you didn't pick my guy, and everybody's already heard us talk about this guy. But go ahead, who's your starting pitcher that you want to see the
Yeah,
Angels.
Shane Bieber's been my guy the whole offseason. I want Shane Bieber. I actually think it makes a lot of sense for the Angels too. From another standpoint, Shane Bieber's probably not going to be on the opening day roster just because he's coming off TJ. So it allows the Angels a couple more months to let Jack Hanowitz throw. It allows like to find out, hey, is Jack Hanowitz actually a starter on this team, or is he a reliever, or is he a up and down guy? Jack had a really good year last year, but the numbers would suggest a lot of regression out of him. Maybe Bieber's not ready until June, and it's like, hey, you know what? Hanowitz is throwing the ball well. Soriano's throwing the ball well. Detmer's just throwing the ball well. Hendricks or whoever else is throwing the ball well. Like, we're going to move Tyler Anderson, and we're going to get, whatever for him and slide Bieber in there. So I think it makes a lot of sense for the Angels from a perspective of getting to find out what they have and also getting an ace of the future, a guy who can take the ball in game one of a playoff series, and you have a lot of confidence that he's going to give you a chance to win.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I'm not going to disagree. However, for the sake of the listeners and for the sake of our conversations, because we just talked about this last night, I went away from anybody that we talked about last night. I would have liked to pick Walker Bueller, but I didn't go that route. I went Max Scherzer. As weird as that sounds, I'm going to go kind of off the same basic premise that I said last night. Scherzer's a freaking bulldog. Like there isn't too many guys that you can think of, even at his age now, that you want in a game seven, that you want in a game one of a playoffs. I'm not saying the Angels are going to make the playoffs or anything like that, but I want that mentality every single time he goes out on the mound for this young pitching staff to go and emulate. I want them to go see one of the best pitchers of our generation go do it on a daily basis and see his work ethic and see what he does. I'm also fine with doing like a Justin Verlander type of thing too. Like
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Gibson, that's fantastic. Great pitcher and everything, but I mean, I'm okay with throwing, $15 million at Max Scherzer and being like, hey, like, go ahead and lead this staff. And I don't know if this happens or not, and I'm kind of talking myself into it, but I mean, for a young pitching staff to go see what Max Scherzer can do every day, his workout regimen, and things like that, that is what you need alongside a Kyle Gibson too. I mean, I think Kyle Gibson brings
Hendricks.
I keep saying Kyle Gibson, don't I? Kyle Hendricks. And I think Kyle Hendricks brings a different philosophy, a different type of pitching. But I want to see that freaking bulldog type of guy. The guy who's staring and yelling, "F you" to the batter, in the bottom of the ninth inning as he's trying to complete a playoff game or something like that. That's what I want to see this young pitching staff emulate. I don't want to, you can be a pitcher all day, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Max Scherzer. That's my pick. Kind of a little bit of an under the radar type guy. I don't think a lot of people know that he's a free agent. But I think it'd be a lot of fun to see Scherzer pitch too. I think like that puts butts in seats too. I think you could sell that to Artie. Like, hey, this is a future Hall of Famer. Like, go get this guy. He's gonna put butts in seats. You can make a bobblehead of him in June before you trade him away. Be a lot of fun. So
That was going to be my point I'd bring up too is that's a type of pitcher that teams are looking for in July. They're
mhm.
looking for a guy that has playoff experience, that is um, a legitimate weapon in the starting rotation, a guy that's like, yeah, even as Max Scherzer right now, like Max Scherzer's still a really good number two. Like if somebody is running out there their ace and Max Scherzer is their 1-2 in the postseason, like that's gonna turn some heads and be like, wow, that rotation looks really good because when Max Scherzer's right, he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Like it's better than what most teams are running out there for their number two. So that would be another checkbox for me is like, hey, he'll bring you something in July if you're out of it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not somebody he's not somebody that you're going to rely on for 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road here. And I know we've been talking about building for 2026 and beyond, but Scherzer's a guy that helps you build for 2026 and beyond by just being Max Scherzer and showing these young guys what it's all about. Plus, you can trade him in July too. So, you got any final thoughts before I let everybody go?
No, and I
San
think
Jose's
that
fine.
the Angels, if the Angels do this, it'll be interesting. But
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of upside, a lot of promise. I mean, I think we talk about this every offseason. There's a lot of moves to be made. There's a playoff team to be made here for sure. Just, we'll see if the Angels end up doing it or not. So, I think the what is it? Oh, I can't even think about what it is. I'm hungry right now. So, we're rolling off this. So, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening here at Talking Halos. You can follow us on all our social medias: X, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. You can follow myself on all those social medias. Just look up Jared Timms. You can follow Nate and Green34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.